Good evening everyone and welcome to Whitehall Lane for this evening's Isthmian Youth League Cup Final between Camberley Town and Worthing.
Well, good evening everyone and welcome to a big game here in Reigate. It's the Marsh Isthmian Youth League Cup Final here on this lovely Monday evening, nice and sunny, as Camberley Town take on Worthing Football Club in a big final. Worthing coming into this game having just won their fourth league title in a row, up against a Camberley side who are chasing top spot in their respective division. We'll just go through the team lineups now, starting off with Camberley Town. In goal, of course, is Dom West, with the captain Hayden Steadman, James Wells, Cameron Shields, Stan Pickup, Finn Cullen, Erin Dimtop, Isaac Dinsdale, Ben Jordan, Josh Ewing and Chris Eccleston. Substitutions for the young crooners: Zahir El Nawab, Ollie Pompey, Jude Sullivan, Masimba Bear and Harvey Brook. As for the young mackerel men, or Worthing FC as they're commonly known, Archie Short in goal, with Ollie Vodden, Ellis Collier, the captain Danny Jordan, Reece Sachs, Jack Downey, Will O'Brien, Cooper Renzulli, Frankie Spiteri, Erie Keskinis and Arthur Gregory. Substitutions: Jacob Thomas Perk, Eddie Jimenez, Liam Hill, Oliver Cowdery and Jed Warner. So welcome everyone if you're just joining us here in Reigate. Of course, we're at a neutral venue thanks to South Park Reigate FC for giving us the opportunity, for giving these clubs the opportunity to host the final. Of course, they did host the final last season and they're doing it again this season. In fact, 2 seasons ago, they changed their pitch. There were some drainage issues, and ever since then, they've got a state-of-the-art 3G pitch, which is in use about 6 days of the 7. And sometimes 3G pitches can be thought of as quite negative for players due to potential injuries, but I was speaking to one of the directors of South Park Reigate FC, and he was saying how pretty much every player who may play on this surface actually gives it so much credit. So it's a real state-of-the-art surface for these young sides. Of course, it's Camberley Town taking on Worthing, both teams having a really good season. Worthing have got their 4th victory in a row in their division. Camberley Town chasing Bracknell Town just above them. But as for now, their league form, their league aims are out the picture. They're just caring about the next 90 minutes and what that could entail. A chance for Worthing to do a double. A chance for Camberley Town to get some silverware before they could complete a double of their own. The players in the centre of the pitch with the referee, David Logfren, will be the one overseeing matters this evening. And he's just having final words with Danny Jordan, the captain of Worthing, as they're in the blue kit and Camberley Town in the red. It's Hayden Steadman on the right. The goalkeeper for Worthing, Archie Short, just going over to maybe get a last feel for the ball. It'll be Camberley who go back to their half. Worthing look to be the ones to kick us off and get this final underway here in Reigate, with the sun just going down in the background. Floodlights lit up, ready for this all-important game. Chance for silverware. Can see Camberley Town just giving some last-minute words of wisdom between one another. Some bits of encouragement there from the attackers. But Worthing will be the ones to get us off underway here. In the centre circle is their number 9, Frankie Spiteri. Big figure for an under-18. I think he's one of the biggest players on the pitch in terms of his height, so he'll give Camberley plenty to think about, especially if Worthing want to send it in the air at any point. Certainly an aerial threat leading the line for Worthing this evening. As they look to try and conjure up the first attack, it's a little cutback by Danny Jordan, as Worthing looks to try and come forward, but they play it out towards that far side. The pressure shown from Camberley there, just putting the number 6, Jack Downey, under a tiny bit of pressure. See, it's just one who's up front, Ben Jordan for Camberley. He looks energetic there to try and press in on those two Worthing centre halves. But here's their number 10 who'll pick it up in Eri Kaskinis. Now Reece Sachs. Plenty of communication going on between these players. So you've got a thread of families just at this near side. And that Worthing could have a first chance. And it's the number 8, Cooper Renzulli, who just pulls it wide with that left-footed effort. They sent it in the air, but it wasn't the number 9 to get something onto it. Instead, it was one of their central midfielders who looked to try and create a problem outside the area, but just missed the target. So the first goal kick of the evening, taken by Dom West. See Ben Jordan leaping up high to try and control it for Camberley. Renzulli will try and clear it forward. Good interception there from the number 4, Danny Jordan, but in fact his touch allowed the Camberley right winger, Chris Eccleston, a sniff at trying to attack down that right-hand side, but Worthing will come away with it once again. And number 5, Reece Sachs, seeing a lot of the ball early on here in Reigate. That's a clever run from Ollie Vodden as he just tries to lay it off to Kaskinis. Looked to have been pulled down at the byline, but neither him or the other player knew that was a foul. You can hear the communication on that far side from Worthing. Of course, they've got a collection of their managers here, Nathan Bowen and Stuart Evans in the dugout. They've also got Dean Hammond, who coaches this side, ex-Brighton player. Haven't seen him appear just yet. Here come Camberley. Quick play as they try to scoop it in behind. Camberley look dangerous here, but that's a scuffed pass out towards this left-hand side, which sees Worthing clear it away, but the ball doesn't leave the half. Here comes their number 7, Erim Dingtop. Nice feet from Jordan, but just showing a bit too much of that to Will O'Brien. That's picked up by Eccleston. He looks dangerous. It's just a slightly heavy pass there. He tried to find Josh Ewing. Instead, it was the gloves of Archie Short. So Worthing looks to try and bring it out from the back once again. But warning signs shown from Camberley. But it was good goalkeeping from Short. Read the danger and was off his line. Sachs. Out towards Downey. You can hear the Worthing bench asking them to try and thread it towards Ellis Collier, the number 3 this evening. A goal kick, the outcome. Of course, Camberley Town FC, they joined the league in 1984, the Isthmian League, and then were no longer part of that in 2006. And part of the pyramid was restructured and the Isthmian League lost several clubs. However, their senior team now compete in the Combined Counties Football League. As for Worthing, in 2022 they were promoted to the National League South. Having been in the Isthmian League from 1977, they ended 45 year stay after being crowned Isthmian League champions of Step 3. Worthing looked dangerous down this left. Here's O'Brien putting in a low ball. He's going to be attacked. And the block ensures the goalkeeper, Dom West, wasn't required to make a save. Nodded away by Camberley, but still picked up by Arthur Gregory. He keeps it in on that far side. Worthing just have flashes of brilliance when they are able to play it down the flanks and around the box. Certainly causing Camberley some problems. And the ball hitting the referee. So it will be a drop ball. Scooped forward, up towards Ben Jordan. And that's going to nobody there from Chris Eccleston. He's short, has choices, and he plays it to his left. See how far up Ben Jordan is compared to the rest of his players. He's really leading the charge, as Camberley like to stay in a fairly low to mid block when they're outside of possession. Sachs once again. Scooped down the line. This can look positive, but O'Brien's marked well there by the number 8, Isaac Dinsdale. He's still managing to put in a ball, and just for a brief second there, you felt Spiteri could have caused the goalkeeper some issues there. But Don West was aware of the danger and got the ball before Spiteri had a chance. Long ball, and they let it bounce. Sachs flicking it away with the back of his head, and this time with his right boot. So far, Eccleston, the number 11 for Camberley, is looking like a right threat. Here he is on the ball now. Can he make something happen? He's up against Sachs. Calls from Worthing that there was a foul there, but that's a brilliant challenge, and it'll be the first corner of the evening. Following that challenge from Rhys Sachs, sliding in on the dangerous Eccleston. So far, though, you've found Eccleston popping up on the left wing, down the right, and in the middle. Certainly an exciting player, but you can tell he's probably favoured to prevent any potential counter-attack, as he's the furthest outfield player back for Camberley. Just standing in the centre circle, but here, to our left, Hayden Steadman, the captain, will feed in this ball, and it's a good one. Good punch away from short, over towards Vodden, who has to be careful here as he had red shirts around him. And that's a brilliant first-time ball on the volley out towards Steadman now, as he takes it beyond his player, but too much so that he brought it out of the pitch with him. Goal kick Worthing. A terrific ball. Played from the Camberley player before then. It was the number 7, Erin Dingtop, who knew he had that in his locker to find his captain out on this left-hand side. Worthing starting to play out from the back once again. Shields. Patient play from Worthing, but not there as they try to go the direct way. Brilliant turn there from the number 8, Dinsdale. Camberley looking bright as they come forward for another time. This is a good run. He took it past one, but is unable to take it past a second, but he won the ball back still. Smart work there from Josh Ewing, but that's not the best of passes you'll see from Wells. It's picked up by Spiteri, who chose to be patient and wait for his chance to play it to his side. And the first challenge going in, the first foul given, and it's against Ollie Vodden for his barge on the number 3, James Wells, who gave the ball away, but then in the end won the free kick. You can see a large cluster of both sets of players going over towards the right side of the penalty area. You can have a feeling where you know where this is going to go, from Steadman towards that back part. Cleared away. Bit of pinball going on. A deft touch there from Josh Ewing. Shields plays it back. And both sets of players there thought they should have won a foul, but play continues. No harm doing. Stand pick-up plays it midfield. Here's Dingtop popping up on the left-hand side. Brilliant 1-2 between the pair. Up against Stedman. And then he wins the throw-in. Applause there from the back line of Camberley as they praise the good work from Dingtop. So here's Collier. And James Wells, the throw-in taker. Just some challenges going in, but the Camberley player holding his line, the number 10, Josh Ewing. Plenty of runners, Eccleston being one of them. Tries to find the number 9, Jordan, but is in between two blue shirts. It's going to take some asking to try and find him. And forcefully headed away, but Camberley looked to try and have some fortune by winning it back. Nodded out towards this left-hand side, but picked up by Vodden. Now Sachs again. You can see when they're off the ball, Camberley are set up with a back five. Both Hayden Stedman and James Wells playing like wing-backs. Both who like to get forward as well, but Worthing have a chance of their own here, as that was a nice pass. You could see the idea there from Danny Jordan. He just tried to feed it through, but Camberley read it well, and then an offside raised on that far side up against Ben Jordan, who was at least a couple of yards, no arguing there. Jordan. Reece Sachs in some room down this right-hand side, but Danny Jordan's just occupying that midfield pocket, currently occupied by Josh Ewing. And now the ball finds Sachs. Worthing in their build-up, just slightly more patient. Of course, they do like the balls over the top, and you could understand why with the aerial threat they've got going forward. Unable to make something happen there. Jordan tries to nudge it forward. Clipped forward this time by the Camberley central midfielder, and the ball comes out of play almost to the gantry, heading to the bar even, towards my back. The throw-in for Camberley is the outcome. A bit of joking going on between the Camberley players as they tried signalling to the referee that he was further forward, when the referee clearly indicated where he should be taking the throw-in, which is here. Trying to just push their luck. A smile on the referee, who understands the jest early on from these players. Eccleston not fouled, as the referee signals that it was the ball, and that was an awkward falling almost, as he had the ball underneath his foot there, stand pick up, and that could have been really deadly on the ankle, but luckily he got straight back up, so no injury sustained there. Scooped in towards the box, but headed away by Jack Downey. But it's not over yet, as a strike still was pulled off there by Ben Jordan, but the referee had blown his whistle just before he struck the ball with his left. And it's a free kick won by the number 10. Of course, shout out to the youth sponsors of these teams, Design Packaging, and of course Marsh, who sponsor this competition. And thank you for your continued support for the brilliant work that Design Packaging do for these teams and for all the teams around the counties in the Isthmian competitions. Their support really doesn't go unnoticed and helps players thrive in their clubs. That strike over, well over Archie Short's goal. Never troubling him from Josh Ewing. He just tried to curl one, but it was about a metre over in the end. is Jack Downey. Now Sachs. So over a quarter of an hour gone here in Reigate between Camberley Town and Worthing. Of course, the stream brought to you by Your Instant Replay. As Worthing looked to try and get a goal just after the quarter of an hour mark, but the ball played forward is held firmly by Dom West. West sending it long down the middle, but Worthing do enough to try and clear it away and get into the Camberley half. As Ollie Vodden tries to clip it over towards that left-hand side. Plenty of duels going on when the ball's in the air. Certainly a game that has not lacked any energy so far. Plenty of dynamism between these two sets of players, and you can really see how much both sides want it. Of course, Worthing still incredibly hungry to make their season that bit better by winning this competition after they won the league just a couple of days ago. Now they have another chance to send one in. It was quite low for their striker to try and get his head onto. Cleared away once again. Now Sachs. Worthing just trying to stick out to the flanks and try and stretch this Camberley side. They've been robust in their defending so far. That ball's sent in. It does bounce, but then it's cleared away. Sachs. Camberley just holding off the press. Of course, you saw in the earlier moments of the game that Ben Jordan was really willing to try and put pressure on that back line for Worthing, but since the last 5 or 10 minutes, you've just seen him drop off and perhaps stick to the rest of the organisation around him. Taking it in field, but sent back out. Scooped in. The number 4 was there. It's going to be sent in towards that near post. First real save needing to be made by Dom West. And he passed the assignment well. It was the number 8, Cooper Renzulli, who struck it on the half volley just after Danny Jordan had a chance deflected. Worthing just finding room through Will O'Brien in a tight area. Brilliant close control as he had Isaac Dinsdale closely onto him. But that didn't faze the Worthing number 8. Here's Jordan. They managed to work something nicely here, but it was smart defending from Stan Pickup, but it's not left the Worthing chance now. They look to try and squeeze it out to that right-hand side. First time ball in, blocked away, and then cleared away. Up towards Jordan, who's fairly isolated at the moment as he nods it down up against Sachs, but the big figure of Sachs was enough to try and clear him off the ball and prevent any chance he had, and even won the throw. So kudos there for Rhys Sachs. Cut out and then fed forward. Just heard the Worthing bench speaking to one of the players, encouraging him to pass the football. He's on the ball now. Vodden. It's a pass he won't want to see again with his hands on the back of his head, but that's good teamwork there from Ellis Collier, who really sprinted back to keep that ball in. You could see straight after the ball left his boot. Jack Downey wasn't the best pleased with that pass. But so far, he's formed a good partnership with Rhys Sachs, of course, throughout the season. And that hasn't changed this evening as of yet. But Worthing's starting to pile more pressure onto Camberley since the opening 5 minutes. Jordan's going to fancy one from distance. The power was there, but the precision wasn't. Goal kick for Camberley. Of course, two really strong sides, and you can see it already with the quality when they're getting the ball forward. Worthing starting to have the more of the chances and more of the possession in the final third, but you can certainly expect a Camberley transition as they've got the players to try and hurt Worthing when they commit bodies forward. Of course, both these sides high up in their table. Camberley just 1 point off top in their division. Second in the West Division of the Isthmian Youth League. 10 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses. They've got 2 games to go. Bracknell Town are the side above them. They've got 1 more game. So if Camberley win both their games in the league, they will be crowned champions just like Worthing were 5 days ago. So real quality we're seeing. And there's always something a bit more satisfying about watching two sides play it out in red and blue. Eccleston just shoving in an arm towards Danny Jordan. It's still 0-0 here, of course, in Reigate. The stream brought to you by Your Instant Replay, providing exceptional coverage. And of course, shout out to the youth sponsor Design Packaging. As mentioned earlier, their support really is superb for these teams and so many more. Worthing really dominating the ball now. Look how low Camberley are. They fancy one from distance and it hits the head of the number 5 Stan Pickup. And now look, you can try and see how Camberley want to exploit Worthing when they've just had an attack, but Eccleston's unable to get the better there of the skipper Danny Jordan, and Vodden is brought down but legally thinks the referee. And now Worthing think there was a foul again. See Eccleston sprinting to the ball up against Sachs. That's a bit of a duel. And Sachs with a cheeky little shove there on Eccleston. Eccleston going up to the referee, signalling that Sachs pulled his shirt. But Sachs with a smile on his face, just trying to show Eccleston who's there early on. Here come Worthing down the left. They're keeping Camberley quiet, and Rhys Sachs is a big reason for that. Of course, Eccleston looked really promising early on. He still does, by all means. But Worthing are managing to keep some of their star players quiet. Of course, Worthing have got a few star players of their own playing today. A few players who have been capped for the first team this season for the first time. You can just see Jack Downey pulling the strings from the halfway line. Sachs, he fancies to curl one. That was a dangerous ball. As you had the number 7, I think, for Worthing. If so, it was Will O'Brien who looked to try and attack that. Worthing felt they should have had a corner. But another Camberley goal kick is the outcome. It was Will O'Brien. He's had some promising moments so far. Brilliant close control when he gets on the ball and drives forward. Short, sending it long. And Arthur Gregory trying to rise high to head it away. Of course, Arthur Gregory, the number 11 this evening, he was one of the players in this under-18s outfit that have got first team minutes in the National League South. He was previously at Brighton and Hove Albion's youth setup, and then just made the short journey down the road from Lancing along the south coast to Worthing. Here come Camberley. As they look to try and get the better of Worthing for the first time. It's punched away into a dangerous area. Archie Short almost punching it towards Eccleston, who would have dreamt of an opportunity like that. But here come Camberley, looking fiery, as they tried to fire one goalwards, but it's blocked by a blue shirt, and it will be another Camberley corner. And that's just shows to Worthing that they are still well and truly in this game when they want to bring it to Worthing. On the transition, on the counter, Worthing can have the possession, but Camberley can still make something of it. Unable to find the back of the net there, but they'll try and do so now. Eccleston still the furthest one back. You can see the number 6 trying to make a run. It's headed goalwards and tipped over the crossbar. Brilliant save from Archie Short as he had his arms stretched out to the max to deny Camberley of a goal against the recent run of play. But not only can they look brave in the transition, it's also with those corners. That's the closest either side has come to goal. The referee's just saying to one of the players that he's giving them a warning. I believe the one he was speaking to is the number 6 for Camberley, Finn Cullen. Which is the reason why they're just taking a bit of time, but look how congested that front post area is. Wouldn't like to be one of those goalkeepers who has to be in and amongst it. Camberley unable to create a similar opportunity to their last after that corner. But Eccleston will try and scoop it out towards that right-hand side. Didn't get the purchase he would have wanted, but he still found a player, so he won't care. Sent forward once again by West. Up towards their number 9. Now it's calmly controlled by Cooper Renzulli. They look to try and get forward once again, Worthing, and just resume the momentum they were gathering up until that brief flurry of Camberley attacking threat. Here's Vodden trying to take it round, but it was a loose touch. So another Camberley throw. As we approach the half-hour mark, it was just that corner there, which was headed goalwards. Looked like it was going to beat Short for that brilliant arm save, as he just pushed it over the crossbar to deny Camberley of a goal after Worthing, who have probably dominated the ball in the early stages of this game. Here's Vodden. Trying to take it past his man, he does so. Had to fight for it though, and then he wins the foul up against Eccleston. 2 Camberley players going over towards the 4th official to disagree with their decision. But Worthing certainly won't. So there's an option in Short for Worthing. Eri Keskinis is the closest player, the number 10. It looks like it's potentially going to be whipped in, as it is. Keskinis tries to keep it alive, out towards Arthur Gregory. Brilliant drop of the shoulder there. Keskinis looking for that far corner, and it's another brilliant bit of goalkeeping, this time from Dom West, who had his body full stretch to deny that effort. From this angle, it looked like it was just glancing wide, but the keeper made sure that it was staying out of his goal. Corner kick for Worthing is the outcome. They tried to take it quickly. This is a clever one. Struck low and hard, finding its way to Vodden once again. Good burst of pace as he just tries to whip it in with his right, but perhaps didn't really have the momentum he would have wanted going into sending that delivery. But it's picked up by Jordan. He'll go from distance, and then the ball will go out of the ground into the green recreational area behind the goal. But both sides now really starting to test either goalkeeper. It's been an exciting encounter so far. You really thought that would have been a spectacular effort if Eri Kaskinis found that corner. Camberley trying to nudge it forward. Eccleston trying to make that run in behind and collect that ball. But the ball instead fired out of the pitch. Another throw is the outcome. So here's James Wells. Had a fair bit of the ball down this left-hand side in the opening moments of the game. Hasn't really had the opportunity to dominate the ball like he was showing spells of in that first part. But here come Worthing looking dangerous through Gregory as he lays it off to his colleague O'Brien. Now Vodden. Cute pass towards O'Brien, but just a bit too much onto it. Smart idea. But O'Brien just a yard or so behind where the ball found itself, and Camberley dealt with that well. So both sides cancelling one another out so far. Two really good goalkeeping saves in the opening half an hour. I feel like they're just starting to test the keepers more now. And this is a good ball in behind. Short had to be careful as he came outside of his 6-yard area to clear it away and get there before Josh Ewing had an opportunity. So Hayden Steadman, the captain, going over to take this throw. He's got Erim Dingtop to his left, but he'll play it towards Jordan. Scooped in, but headed away well by Jack Downey. Up towards the big number 9 in Spiteri as he lays it off. Worthing coming forward, and they're trying to get bodies forward too. It's laid off nicely, but it's a really, really disappointing effort in the end from Spiteri. Unfortunate, as Gregory was making a good run in field with the pace as well when he was driving with the ball to just lay it off to his left-hand side. Spiteri, you felt, was going to at least get it on target, but he was unable to show some execution. But still, the run from Gregory was brilliant and certainly caused Camberley problems. He just cut them open. That just shows what Worthing can do. I'm sure if Spiteri got another chance, it would certainly create more problems for the goalkeeper. Camberley cut it out. Nice drop of the shoulder as he beats his player. Now Jordan. Eccleston tried to make a diagonal run, but Jack Downey winning it back to Camberley's displeasure. Here's Spiteri once again. Worthing getting players into the box as it's scooped towards the 6-yard area. No real blue shirts around the ball as they just try to scoop it in behind. Spiteri making dangerous runs, but Dom West able to just collect the ball and calm Camberley down in defence for a minute. Commanding header upfield by Danny Jordan. Sachs encouraging Vodden to beat his man. As his man, James Wells, thought the ball was out of play, but Vodden kept it in nicely. O'Brien out towards Collier as they carry on their runs to try and create problems for Camberley. This is nice. Just a bit too much onto that, which means Gregory's got to chase it towards the byline, which he may have not wanted to do. And Worthing get the throw. Camberley frustrated as they felt it should have gone their way. Slightly heavy touch, allowing Camberley to try and get it forward. And Worthing had to be really on it there, because one of their strikers was right up the pitch. But here's Worthing right up the pitch for their own. They tried to square it. Camberley clear it away through Hayden Stedman. Jordan. Now Sachs. We've seen him try and deliver in a ball from this similar angle. This time he plays it back to his captain. Collier. Assessing his options, but Jordan the one he favours. See the loss where you see this a lot now for Worthing in this game, where Sachs likes to try and make that run further up the field, about 20 yards or so in front of Jack Downey, who just likes to occupy that position, being in the heart of that defence, just playing balls from left to right, and he's been very good at it so far. But now he's got some defending to do, as it's pretty much one-on-one. Camberley looking to try and open the scoring. Brilliant footwork. Oh, what a save. Excellent save. Met to a round of applause around the ground here in Reigate as Archie Short denies Ben Jordan of what looked like was going to be a guaranteed goal. And it was going to take some spectacular goalkeeping. And that's what we saw. Hats off to Archie Short there to keep it at 0-0. Like I said earlier, that's just what Camberley possess. Worthing enjoying the ball, but Camberley, in a way, probably enjoying soaking up the pressure and then hitting Worthing on the counter when they don't expect it. Scooped forward, but Sachs heads it forward from a Worthing perspective. Now Eccleston gets a second chance to try and bring it forward. Here's Vodden in some room, allowed time to just assess his options, and he squares it over towards his fellow fullback, Ellis Collier. Sachs once again. Plenty to try and aim at. Once again, he tries to send it in. Here's Kaskinis, popping up in a fullback role. You can hear Jack Downey just saying tempo, 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 to just try and raise the momentum and the pace of this game from a Worthing perspective. They want to be quick in order to ensure that they're not being as predictable. But that's also down to the robust defending we're seeing from Camberley, which just isn't really allowing Worthing a clear-cut opportunity or option. We're saying that Worthing have still made opportunities of their own, just perhaps haven't had the ability to take it just yet. The biggest chance falling towards Frankie Spiteri. Sachs with a slightly weak pass, which allows Jordan to pounce. But he's got Sachs onto him. He also had Renzulli trying to close him down as well. But look how many players Worthing have now got back. Brilliant commitment to the defending, as it was pretty much a one-on-one. That was a couple of blue shirts the furthest back, but now they've got the majority of the team with the dangerous ball. Calls for a foul. I'm not too sure what the issue is there, but Worthing potentially have a chance to try and get forward. Eccleston closing in on his man. You just hear the volume levels rise after that brief opportunity for Camberley. Here's Collier. Sachs. Vodden's in some room to the right, but he plays it in field. And look how much room he is in now. Tricky feet as he takes it towards the byline. It's going to be a tight angle to work with. Still manages to keep it in. Worthing trying to ask questions, but Camberley enjoying just sitting back, absorbing this Worthing pressure. Can they make something happen now as they send the ball into the box? They're unable to. Sachs just scanning around to ensure that he knows his surroundings well. Short with the short pass. Here's Vodden. Fed in by O'Brien as he tries to send in a ball, but it's another goal kick for Camberley. Just around 5 minutes left of the first half. Being played at a good tempo at times. Of course, Worthing have been saying that they want to up the tempo, as you can hear from the players communicating with each other on the pitch, but they've still held their own well. And with their possession-based game, they may try to aim to tire down Camberley. But of course, so far, it's two good styles where you've got Worthing liking to dominate the ball and then Camberley who are liking to try and hit them on the counter. But Worthing with a late chance to try and get a late goal in this first half. But with passes like that, it just allows Camberley another chance to try and hit them on the transition. Now trying to feed it in behind, but it doesn't find anyone. Eccleston was the only player in an onside position who was going to be closest to try and get that ball. That would have been a tough ask, considering he had three blue shirts around him. Sachs just having to adjust his position to pick up that pass from Collier. Sachs. Sachs once again as Vodden leaves it. Here's Jordan. Trying to take it in field. Camberley changing the player who goes in for the press. Worthing forced back. And that's good pressure there from Camberley. Just forcing Worthing with no chance but to go back. But now they're going to try and hit them with the captain, Jordan. What a moment this could be. Doesn't feel like he had enough room to pull off a strike. Instead, Gregory does, and he finds the back of the net with a superb strike to that near post. They were patient, and now it's paid off from their number 11. And it's the young Mackerel men that draw first blood in this Isthmian Youth League Cup Final.
Of the evening goes to Worthing.
And after that robust defensive performance from Camberley, they've been undone by a brilliant moment from Worthing's number 11. Arthur Gregory trying to make sure he's doing his bit for Worthing to get their double this season. It was good work from the captain as well, Danny Jordan, as he looked like he was going to go for a strike. Knew that perhaps Gregory had a better chance when he was by his side. So it was unselfish, fed it to him. He probably knew that the ex-Brighton player was going to make something happen, which he did. 1-0 to Worthing. Headed away by Collier. Camberley will have to try and come out now and bring the game to Worthing as they look for a second goal in a matter of minutes. As Frankie Spiteri chases the ball, I think he had a couple of words to say to the goalkeeper, probably to just maybe play some mind games after his side having just gone 1-0 down. Short coming out to clear it away. Ends up being a good pass towards the goal scorer Gregory, who turns brilliantly but takes the ball out due to a final touch from a Camberley player. Worthing throw. Here's Sachs. Now Vodden. O'Brien. He's going to fancy one, Collier. Another powerful strike from a Worthing player, just unable to keep it down. He wanted his moment to go and celebrate. I was envious of Arthur Gregory. And who wouldn't be? What a feeling that must be to score a brilliant goal on a big stage. Jordan. Gregory picking it up again, trying to feed it up towards Spiteri, and he finds him. He's up against Stan Pickup here, and Cameron Shields. To look for a brief moment, Worthing could have another opportunity at point-blank range, but that is going to be the end of the first half. It was a late goal from Arthur Gregory. After a first half that saw good opportunities for both sides. Worthing dominated the ball, but good saves from both goalkeepers. Archie Shaw drew the first save as he managed to palm a ball from a corner over the crossbar. Don West was tested a couple of times and arose to the occasion, but he was unable to keep out the strike from Worthing's number 11. A big second half coming up for both sides. It's here at the break. Camberley Town FC 0, Worthing 1. Welcome back, everyone. The players back out on the pitch, ready for the second half of this year's Isthmian League Cup Final, Youth Cup Final, I should say, sponsored by Marsh. And it will be Camberley, the side that find themselves a goal down late on in that first half. They'll be the ones kicking proceedings off in this second period. Of course, as we go in to the second half, a big shout out again to Design Packing, sponsor. Of course, they are a brilliant sponsor of the youth teams. And a big shout out to them down at Design Packing. Well, Camberley have some work to do. They enjoyed inviting the Worthing pressure, but perhaps they invited a bit too much of it towards the latter end of that first half, which Arthur Gregory took in his stride. He took advantage of it and struck it in with his left. Plenty of power and venom, too much on it for Dom West, who was crawling across his goal line to try and keep it out, but he was unable to. So Worthing on the attack now in this second half. It'll be interesting to see how Camberley adjust after that half-time team talk. Bit of a cliche, but it's never easy going in half-time, having just conceded a goal. Really does change the complexion of the team talk. As for Worthing, it does so, but perhaps more in a positive way. But they won't care, as they've currently got one hand on the trophy. And they're 45 minutes away from completing a double, which would be exceptional for their side. They've got used to winning things in recent seasons, especially their competition. 4 wins in a row in their league. And they're going to have the first chance. It looked for a moment they were going to have the first chance. It's still alive. Played into the area, but laid off. It's left for Collier. Perhaps a Camberley player could have maybe intercepted that. They then try taking it away from Ellis Collier, but he finds himself on the ball now. The ball did go out of play. And Collier asks the assistant referee, "Are you sure?" Which obviously tells us what he's thinking. Of course, a big shout out to Design Packing, but also South Park FC of Reigate. They're a Step 4 side, 40 teams for their club. Of course, this is where they play. That ranges from the veterans side to the women's side to the youth sides. And of course, as mentioned earlier, this 3G pitch is their second season and it's their second year hosting. And of course, they felt very privileged to get this pitch from sponsors and the like. And of course, last season, the side, South Park FC, won their Surrey Cup, their County Cup, after beating Farnham Town in the final. Looked for a brief moment there that Camberley could try and open their account of the evening with a potential one-on-one. Josh Ewing, the player closing in on the goalkeeper Archie Short, but Worthing come away with it in their commanding style that we've seen so far. It's a Worthing ball, but Camberley believe it's theirs. Here's Collier. Camberley having to just keep to that shape we saw in the first half. Of course, that's not surprising either, as they wouldn't want the game to maybe be taken away from them early in this second half. Eccleston wins a foul, and that's exactly what Camberley would want a player like him to do. Try and get the ball up the pitch, try and win a foul, and also get an opposition player in the book. And it's Rhys Sachs who's gone into the book, the first player to be awarded a yellow card this evening. You can perhaps understand why. Of course, he's been a good player this game, a big centre-half. But he has enjoyed getting involved in some of the duels and battles in the game. And perhaps the referee thought that was one too many to let him get away with. So into the book he goes. Camberley with a free kick to try and make something happen as they chase an equaliser. Headed away by Worthing as they deal with that efficiently. And Camberley still try to keep the ball as they play it back. Shields trying to clear it upfield and winning a throw in the process. So here's Hayden Steadman, launching it down that right-hand side. Goes over all of the intended targets. Camberley will be disappointed that they weren't able to keep the ball in that instance. Now Worthing have a chance to make an attack of their own through short, but that ball almost misfiring and finding its way into the possession of a Camberley player, but it was an outstretched leg from Ellis Collier that was able to collect it. Here's Jordan playing it forward through to Wenzuli. Vodden making a run in field. This is dangerous. This is a good opportunity for O'Brien. A save from Dom West coming to his right. As it opened up there for Will O'Brien, trying to find a corner. Slightly central. It was good range for Dom West to come down and collect. Flicked in behind almost. Good tussling there from Josh Ewing as he tries to make something happen on his left as he goes to pull the trigger, but instead Worthing and Collier managed to get a decisive foot in to take it away from his stride. He really made things open up for him on that left-hand side, the number 10, Josh Ewing. Here's Rhys Sachs, who now has to play the rest of the game on thin ice, having been booked moments ago. Ball almost getting stuck under Jack Downey. Nice, almost 1-2. You could see the idea, Vodden keeping it in, but at the same time perhaps may have studded up against his counterpart for Camberley. Eccleston had the chance to maybe chase in on short, but perhaps that was a tactical decision to remain in his shape. Here's Downey. Assessing his options from right to left. Gregory's in some room. He finds Collier. Here's the goal scorer. Brilliant drive there from O'Brien. He has the option in the middle of the park. Tricky feed, but it's O'Brien to whip one. And it's another good save from Dom West. Smart save as well. Collecting it nicely, not allowing a parry and a second opportunity for Worthing. Because that's the second time in a short period where Will O'Brien found a shot on target, but also found the gloves of a secure Dom West. Worthing certainly starting this second half the stronger of the two in terms of chances created. Camberley having to be cautious. And they're not pegged back by two. Gregory, both arms raised on this near side, signalling to his centre-half that he's in some room. Here's Vodden. They're really starting to make things happen, Worthing. There's an air of confidence in their attack. Kaskinis. Back to Downey. O'Brien being called upon by Gregory to receive the ball and make himself an option, but they play it out to that right-hand side. Another opportunity, Kaskinis. Gregory's outside the area. And it's a goal kick. Clear the groan from Kaskinis to not have made something happen there, as he had Spiteri lurking around the 6-yard area, but a lot of red shirts around him to perhaps find the number 9. But more attacking intent shown from the side, a goal up. Flicked in field. Important touch forward by a Worthing individual. In this case it was Renzulli. Gregory just trotting down this left-hand side. Downey's seen a lot of the ball in this second half so far. O'Brien trying to make a run. A lot of them going towards this right-hand side. Worthing are preferring that wing so far. Gregory in acres of room. Here's Vodden. That's clever. Struck from distance. Calls for a handball from Worthing. You could hear one of the Camberley players just say, "No way." The referee felt that as well, but this is a positive opportunity, but it's scooped beyond the goal frame from Spiteri as he just tried to clip one in with his left, but instead it hit the outside of his left foot and went out for another Camberley goal kick. Of course, Camberley beat Walton and Hershams under 18s 1-0 to get to this position. Fairly hopeful touch and pass there from Josh Ewing as he tried to scoop it behind him, but none of his colleagues were there to make a run down the right. Now Downey. They're calling it over on that right-hand side. Vodden opens up his body nicely to then burst it down the right. That's a heavy touch from Kaskinis. And another Camberley goal kick. Clearly fancying that right-hand side. Perhaps may just want to play it more on this left to try and stretch the game, but after all, I'm sure their tactics are well thought out compared to my observations. By, of course, their coaching staff of Nathan Bowen, Stuart Evans and Dean Hammond. Struck from distance. Clawed beyond the goal. Another save again from Don West. He's having a strong second half here, really keeping his side in it. Of course, both saves from Will O'Brien have been fairly routine, but that one, to deny him a third time, was certainly the pick of the bunch and the hardest, you'd think, to actually keep away from the back of his net. Vodden. Different type of corner this time, is aiming it towards that penalty spot rather than whipping it in towards the goal for someone to get a head onto. But Camberley dealt with that change of corner tactic well. They'll throw it out quickly as they need an equaliser. Of course, it does go straight to penalties if this game were to be level after 90 minutes. Ball last came off Gregory, so it'll be a throw-in for Camberley. Another throw once again, this time further up the field. Camberley trying to gain yards on Worthing, which they haven't really been able to do in this second half period. Steadman. And it's a Worthing throw this time, in a similar position. Sent forward by Pickup, hoping that Jordan can get underneath it. Here's Eccleston, who proved to be a danger in the first half. He's unable to make something dangerous happen there. He felt he should have had a corner. Frustrated at the referee's call to award it as a goal kick. I did see from this angle, up in this gantry, and it was a heavy touch. Now short. Downey. This is good. More smart interplay down the right-hand side as they tried to feed it out to the left. Perhaps a bit too soon there. But Gregory was making a positive run, giving away a foul in the process, and David Logfrent, the man in the middle officiating this game, indicating and communicating to Gregory that it indeed was a foul. So Dom West for this free kick. Slightly awkward clearance. Sachs unable to get so much distance on that. So he tried to poke it towards the area. You can see Jordan was trying to swivel his body when collecting it on the half-turn, but instead Worthing managed to win it back, but briefly, as they give it away for another Camberley throw. Bit of head tennis going on that far side. But it's picked up by Worthing as they look to try and really solidify their position in this final. And they're looking promising here as it's pulled back. And it was the silky skill there from Kiskinis, who tried to just flick it with his heel to a player behind him. But he was unable to pull off that move, and Camberley grateful that it ended that way. Some of the fans on the side of the pitch frustrated at the decision there as well, to show the skill rather than the desire to shoot. Can't knock the confidence of Kiskinis though. Clear handball. No arguments there, even from those in red. Taken quickly by Jordan, but too quick to the extent the ball wasn't in the position it should be. And the referee just bringing it back. They take it quickly again. Drop of the shoulder from Sachs to play it back to Downey. Renzulli trying to create an option to his left, but it's over towards Sachs. O'Brien. Collier. I see Kiskinis playing like a left back now. Good drive forward. Jordan just likes to make things tick in that midfield. Here's O'Brien. Does he fancy another effort at goal? Just shows a bit too much of that, but they still keep the ball. Kiskinis with an ambitious first-time pass forward, really trying to up the tempo or keep that tempo there for Worthing as they were passing it quickly. And Kiskinis just a bit too ambitious there. So the first substitution, and it's going to be the number 12, Zahir Al-Nawab, who will replace Isaac Dinsdale. As he's just waiting in the wings. You can see the fourth official's board is up, and Dinsdale walking off. Doesn't look best pleased to be coming off. Dinsdale, you can understand, you can be frustrated, especially at this age when you're in a final. But Camberley now hoping that Al-Nawab can create some magic for them for the remaining part of the game. Awkward sliced forward. Collier. Slightly heavy pass, not slightly, a very heavy pass really for Steadman, as he tried to find the runner of Ewing, but they weren't really on the same wavelength there. So Worthing have a chance to make some possession of their own. Downey. Here's Danny Jordan, of course, just saying how he likes to make things tick in the middle of the park. He's one of the players that's played in the first team this season, made his first team debut for the Mackerel men and Chris Aguta's side in the National League South. Of course, what an exposure that will be to then come down to the under-18s and captain his side after being around the experience that's in that Worthing side that are really chasing promotion. 3 cup finals ahead of them towards the end of the season. And Eastbourne Borough, Dorking and Enfield. And so far, the under-18s are doing well in their cup final this evening. The goal just before half-time, Arthur Gregory, is what separates these two. Now they'll try and aim to make that gap just that bit bigger, but the ball looping over kindly towards Dom West, who hasn't really had to do much thinking there. Look at the pressure there. Exactly what Worthing will want to see from Spiteri. But not this, as Camberley managed to break through that press. Good desire, but here come Camberley. Slightly weak pass, which just allows Collier time to chase it. But Camberley have another throw. Fed back in towards the edge of that 6-yard box. Here's Eccleston. Will he fancy one from distance? Instead, he tries to feed it over towards that right-hand side, and you knew it was just too much on that pass for Steadman to latch onto. He didn't give it up, though, the full-back. But he knew it was going to be a big ask to retrieve. Of course, Short playing the ball over towards Downey before this goal kick. He hasn't been worked in this second half. Camberley will want to try and put pressure onto him, but so far, Worthing of the side that are showing their true expertise at being solid in defence and not giving away any opportunities. Brilliant composure as Downey had. Their number 10, Josh Ewing, running onto him. Didn't faze him one bit. Here's Gregory. Touches it with his left and takes it in on his right. That's a lovely, deft flick there from Ewing as he tries to have the ball fed back to him by Jordan, but they're unable to pull off that move. Now Worthing will try and create another one of their own. Spiteri. Here's Jordan. Gregory. This is nice. Spiteri signalling to Collier that he was in a good position to attack the ball he delivered in, but the ball from Collier didn't have the height and it just dipped at a nice time for West to be able to just catch that into the middle of his body. Been a good display from Dom West. Made some good saves in that first half, especially in the second half. The reason why Camberley have been able to keep it at 1-0 is largely down to their goalkeeper. Sacks. There's Kaskinis brought down. And here the Camberley player shouting in frustration. I don't know whether that's at the referee's decision or the fact that he's frustrated that he gave away a cheap foul. But Worthing will try and make the most of it now as they take the free kick quickly. Vodden out towards Kaskinis. Camberley scurry it away, and it, ball forward really gains some yards on Worthing. Here's the substitute, Al Nawab, as he looks to try and create something. Ewing pulls the trigger, but it's wide. The first real strike we've seen Camberley hit at Archie Short's goal. He's not required to be worked there, though. Renzulli out towards Collier. Gregory signalling that he's making the run down the left-hand side. Gregory and Spiteri both going for it, but it's the number 11 that gets it. Spiteri in the box, as is Kaskinis. Renzulli. They're teasing Camberley now, but they're unable to try and get the ball into the box. They have a chance now potentially with O'Brien, but he's got Eccleston onto him. He's given a chance to shoot. Blocked first time of asking. It's not over here yet for Worthing. Brilliant close control there from Kaskinis as well. Looked for a brief moment he was going to lose the ball, but he just managed to extend his leg and win it back effortlessly. Haven't heard that for the first time this game. Both sets of players calling our ball, and it does go in favour of Camberley. Kaskinis just saying to the referee in the corner. Another suggestion that Camberley needed to go back. And perhaps they were just gaining a few yards that they weren't meant to. And it's going to be another substitution. And it's the end of the day for James Wells, the left wing back. And he's replaced by Masimba Bear. So two substitutions made by Camberley. Worthing so far still with the 11 that started this game. Here's Jordan. Slight shove in the back there from Erin Dingtop. Downey in stationary mode there, allowed to by the Camberley attack. You'll see Camberley probably tiring now. Any team would when you're chasing the game, but also chasing possession. And there's an opportunity at the byline, not anymore, because a foul had been given and awarded for Camberley. I think it was Spiteri who maybe studded his player by accident. Spiteri now in the book. That's the second time the referee has had to get his cards out. The first one, of course, was for Rhys Sachs. And now the number 9, Frankie Spiteri. It was on the number 7, Erin Dingtop. You could hear the shout as well when he went down. Luckily it's nothing major and he's all good to carry on. So West's ball in the middle of the Worthing structure. As Kaskinis tries to work it through his man. Calls for a foul for those in Worthing colours. This is good as they try to just scoop it in. Jordan with a touch as he tried to find it back to Collier, but instead Camberley tried to create an opportunity of their own. Collier scurrying back to win the ball in his position, and then he scoops a brilliant ball forward. Here comes Gregory as Worthing. They sense an opportunity for a second. The ball fed across the penalty area, but it was Camberley that managed to clear it away and intercept. And Worthing are going to be frustrated here, and there's a red card in the final. And I'd be lying to say I know exactly what is going on right now. Of course, one of the Camberley players slid in on Gregory. Then when the ball went up the other end of the pitch, one of the players had then committed a foul bad enough to be given his marching orders. And Camberley so frustrated, all huddled round the referee. Stan Pickup, the most irate out of them. And you could see the fans giving some stick to the referee as well. Talking about the blue number 11, obviously referencing Arthur Gregory, as he was the player right in the mix of it for Worthing. That obviously led to a Camberley red card. The red card is still out here in the referee's hand. And it looks like it looked like he was coming over to actually award a yellow card. I thought there was going to be some sort of discussion he had with the assistant referee, quite VAR style, dare I mention that, which could have seen him cancel a red and give a yellow. Worthing just saying, get the player off. Well, drama here in Reigate. Not something I was expecting to see. But the night is going well and truly in Worthing's favour, as they're a goal up and a man up now. Still no Camberley player to walk off the pitch, however. This is a day where do feel for the referees. Maybe they've made a massive howler, I'm unsure. You'll have to watch it back on the stream, obviously provided by Your Instant Replay. So the people watching back home, maybe go and have a look and see exactly what happened. I wish I had that luxury right now, but just having to go off seeing what's just gone on in front of me. It's Hayden Steadman, I believe, has been sent off. There's going to be some added on time here to quite a large extent. And the referee, who's just had the last few minutes being criticised heavily by the players and the fans, has now blown his whistle for play to resume. So, Camberley, a goal down, a man down, skipper off. Hayden Steadman, the captain, given his marching orders. But here's Bear, who tries to make something happen. He wriggles through. What a time this would be to score for Camberley. They've got a corner. This is where they've got to dig deep. Just added that extra bit of needle to this cup final now for the remainder of the game. Fed in towards the danger zone, headed away importantly by Jordan, picked up by Ewing. Hoisted in, finding the inside of the post, and Camberley are agonisingly close to getting an equaliser. You thought it was just going to be fed in towards that side netting, but here's an opportunity for Worthing of their own. Brilliant defending from Eccleston. That is sensational from the Camberley number 11, and ever so needed. That would have been an abysmal time, you'd think, to score and to concede for Camberley. But they tried to poke it forward, and Worthing get a free kick. And a yellow card awarded to Al Nawab, the first substitute for Camberley. But my word, since that sending off, it really has gone up a level. Of course, it's been an exciting game throughout. There's going to be 2 substitutions coming on for Worthing. But just as Camberley found the inside of the post, you thought they were going to get an equaliser. Worthing then go down the other end of the pitch, and if it wasn't for Eccleston denying Spiteri of a one-on-one opportunity, it could have been two, and it would have really been out of sights there for Camberley. So the two players coming off are Jack Downey and Reece Sachs. Brilliant games they've both had. In the heart of that defence, Downey's just timed his passes well, known when to play it quickly, when to slow it down. He's been an exceptional player. So on comes Oliver Cowdrey. One of the substitutions, two have come on. As Bear tries to just flick it behind him and then changes direction and run forward. Short plays it in towards O'Brien. Worthing are going to need to show some real mental side here now, given the fact that Camberley are now really going to be chucking it at them. They want to try and take the sting out of the game where they can, given the fact that the temperature's really raised here in the last 10 minutes. Ball bounces kindly as it was looking to just go straight, and then it just bobbled back towards Vodden. There's the other substitute who's come on, Jacob Thomas Perk. Now Renzulli. Thomas Perk. Renzulli again. Vodden keeping the ball at his feet. It's fed down the line. Picked up by their number 10. And it's another throw for Camberley. So the player to have actually gone off earlier was Stan Pickup. Hayden Steadman is still on the pitch, the number 2. Game's just died down a little, and perhaps Worthing will be the more happier with that being the case. Goal kick going to be taken by one of the centre halves, but as we commonly see, it's passed towards the goalkeeper. He then has the option to then play it up the field towards the substitute Thomas Perk. Here's Collier. First time pass towards Spiteri. The centre half out on the left. Tries to feed it in. This is a brilliant opportunity. Collier to try and seal it! An exceptional save from Dom West. Probably the pick of the bunch. Similar to Archie Shorts in the first half, where he used his leg to just deny the striker. And once again, it was the number 9 to just have that saved at pretty much point-blank range, keeping his side well and truly in it. So Arthur Gregory, both arms raised briefly as he curls one in, whipping it towards that back post. As Cowdrey is waiting to attack it, here's Collier just trying to nudge it forward. Trying to chop and change his direction, and then that's a foul. Arthur Gregory sticking in a leg on Josh Ewing. One of the Camberley players asking the referee what the difference is between that challenge and the challenge on Arthur Gregory beforehand. That saw the red card for Camberley. The long ball where Camberley are trying to hope that someone latches on the end of it, but it's too much on there for Ben Jordan. Short rolling it out quickly. Spiteri tries to get him behind. This is good. This is promising from Worthing. Can they finish it off? Spiteri just dragging it wide. He's had a handful of chances so far in this game. He'll be disappointed he hasn't found the back of the net for at least one of them. But he's still caused Camberley plenty of issues. West. Cut out by Thomas Perk. This is positive. They're unable to make anything happen from Masimba Bear. He tries to win it back, and that's brilliant determination. And ball recovery from the substitute, the number 16 for Camberley. Shields trying to scoop it forward, but another offside for Camberley. Worthing free kick. And two more substitutes coming on for Camberley. Off comes Ben Jordan. On comes Harvey Brook, the number 17. And that's the end of it for Eccleston, one of the brighter sparks in that first half for the side in red. He's replaced by Ollie Pompey.
Substitution for Camberley, one off number 11.
So 4 substitutions made by the Crooners, as they're in search of that equaliser. Here's Steadman, trying to scoop it over towards this right-hand side, and he finds a brilliant diagonal ball out to his winger. Here's Bear, low strike, across the face of goal, and a glorious opportunity that hits the post. That's both posts that's been hit now. How unlucky for Camberley. As it was Masimba Bear who opened up a brilliant opportunity, but now Worthing have one of their own. And it's not the first time Camberley hit the post and Worthing bombed forward to create another opportunity. They're unable to make anything count of it there. But you can't get much closer than that. It was pretty much an open goal, but it was miskicked and hit straight at the woodwork. Whipped in. As Camberley are being really rigid here in their attacking intent, but Bear scoops it over the crossbar. Looked like it could have looped behind Archie Short. But Worthing getting ever so close to a double. And the fans around the ground are sensing a victory going in the way of the young Mackerel men. Of course, a lot of this level is supported by brilliant sponsors, one of them being Design Packaging. A brilliant sponsor helping everyone out at this level. And their dedication truly is felt by those associated with the players on the pitch right now. Spiteri tries to control it down. Calls for a foul. And it goes in the way of Worthing. After the way this game's gone, you can tell Camberley's frustrations will be growing higher. But Worthing won't care. They're minutes away from really getting the cherry on top of this season. As Dingtop tries to drive it forward, but he's fouled by Spiteri in the build-up. They take it quickly again. Here's Bear. Puts in another ball, but goes beyond all the targets. Fodden just having a bit of push and shove there with the number 16. And then he's brought down. And there's a good opportunity now for Camberley. Of course, maybe moments away from the 90 minutes. But you'd think there's going to be a fair bit of stoppage time. Of course, 4 substitutions used by Camberley, 2 by Worthing. And then, of course, that whole debacle about the red card will be a large reason as to why we may have so many minutes added on. A late opportunity here for Camberley, and it's collected very well by Short. And you don't blame him for coming down to the ground following the collection of that delivery. Sending it long. I think it's going to be double figures added on, you know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I can see on the 4th officials board. No, I am wrong. 4 minutes added on. Just 4 minutes. Well, Worthing won't care. The lesser the better. Of course, the way it's gone now, Camberley can really only hope for penalties if they're to get an equaliser, unless we see the most dramatic of comebacks. But that's the 5th and final substitution. Stedman comes off for Jude Sullivan. So all substitutions used at Camberley's disposal. Just a sloppy pass forward. See the aggression though from the substitutes after coming on. Here come Worthing. Players calling it off Thomas Perk as Gregory lays it off to him. Sends in a low ball and almost wins a corner. O'Brien with a courageous header forward. See a good opportunity to complete it. Once again, Dom West getting the ball before Spiteri could. He's really chucked himself about. Frankie Spiteri may not have got on the score sheet just yet, but certainly caused the backline and Dom West some problems. Quite congested at the moment for Worthing as they just try to clear their lines, but that's a heavy touch which is welcomed by Thomas Perk. Not to the fullest though, as Camberley show the desire to retain the ball. This is a good late opportunity, worrying signs for Worthing, but that's not. As that's a nice layoff, brilliant hold-up play. Spiteri holding it up nicely. And an almost chance for his colleague and substitute Eddie Jimenez. Camberley really having to chuck absolutely everything at it now. Scooped in. Once again, he's alone. One of the Camberley players punching the ground as he gets back up to his 2 feet. Frustrated that he wasn't unable to convert that opportunity. There's going to be another substitution for Worthing. I think Arthur Gregory is coming off. Could he be the match winner for Worthing? And he's walking towards the touchline.
Substitution for Worthing coming off number 3.
But it's actually
Ellis Collier coming on.
Ellis Collier.
Liam Hill.
Slight confusion there with the 4th officials board. They put up number 3, but it was Arthur Gregory that came off. Ellis Collier told by one of the people in the crowd to stay on. Can't make it be a level playing field now, surely, given the fact that the opposition are also down to 10 men. As you'd expect, Camberley dominating the ball, keeping it in the Worthing half for large parts of this stoppage time. This is going to be a long throw. Don West, the goalkeeper, walking up to the halfway line. Throw finding a blue shirt. They tried to scoop it in once again, but here come Worthing as they look to try and double their lead. No players offside as they're all in their own half. But that's it! Worthing crowned champions of the Isthmian Youth League Cup Final. And they've got the double. They may have just scored the one goal, but it's 2 trophies for the young mackerel men this season. Camberley gave them a good game at parts, but the young rebels get the double. And thanks to Arthur Gregory's strike in the first half, just before half-time, the side in blue are the side celebrating this evening. Camberley disheartened. Of course, there was a large talking point about that red card. We'll see the trophy lift as well, which gives Danny Jordan a second opportunity to lift a trophy for his side this season. There's still words going on, though, with the referee, as you'd probably expect, with both sets of staff and players going up and handshaking the fourth officials. But what a night that is for the young rebels. What a night that is for Worthing Football Club to see their under-18 side crowned champions of the league and now their cup. Of course, they're now going to be celebrating and unleashing all that pressure, that built-up pressure that was mounting on top of them in that second half. Of course, they did control it in large parts. Camberley tried to create chances, but Worthing just didn't give them a chance to even create an opportunity. Their back line was brilliant. Danny Jordan in the midfield was just superb at breaking up the play and knowing when to pass and when to hold it up. The same with his centre-half, Jack Downey. Rhys Sachs as well came off, having put in a really solid defensive display. And of course, the goal scorer, the match winner, the tournament winner, Arthur Gregory, being the reason why Worthing win tonight. The trophy just being set up now on the table to our right by those associated with the Isthmian League and, of course, South Park FC, who have given this brilliant venue, brilliant pitch for the second season in a row for this competition. Of course, Camberley will have to go again in their league, but Worthing can now go into that summer with their heads held high, knowing they've had a stellar under-18s campaign. Well, of course, the players' families and friends waiting around the table and just on the side of the pitch, waiting to just give their boys or their nephews a big congratulations. What a moment that must be for their family members.
We will begin this evening's presentation by awarding this evening's match officials their commemoration medals of tonight's game. We can welcome up and say thank you to referee David Logston, assistant
so the referees just getting their applause after that game. Of course, I did not envy David Logfred when he had furious players around him, stating that his decision he made was completely incorrect. But, as they said in the matchday programme, those officials there today have been awarded this game after showing brilliant officiating this season throughout the Isthmian divisions. This is seen as a celebration to be awarded to host and to officiate this type of match. So the runners-up now, Camberley Town, as they started off. Dom West, probably one of the players of the match, if not the player of the match, considering the saves he made in that second half to keep Camberley in it. And they got ever so close, didn't they? Hitting both posts in that second half, but just didn't have enough to beat the young rebels. Disappointed, but they've still got the league to go for, which can provide them excitement for the rest of the season. Worthing just waiting in the wings, all brimming with confidence, beaming with smiles, knowing that they're about to lift the trophy. But of course, commiserations to Camberley, the side from Surrey, just falling short to the side from the South Coast. As you can see, Worthing there with their coaching staff ready to be invited over to the table with the trophy. Of course, their captain, Danny Jordan.
And now, this season,
he'll probably be aiming to make more first-team appearances next season. This is a great advertisement for him as well as the other players who have done themselves proud this evening. Danny Jordan leading the under-18s, leading them to victory. And here he is receiving a round of applause from the fans around us. Clapped off by the coaches behind them, who are modestly staying behind to let the players collect this trophy and enjoy this moment. Of course, Stuart Evans, Nathan Bowen, Del Chester and Ollie. All very happy for this side. So your double winners, Rebel fans. What a season this is for the under-18s. Filled with potential.
Save your biggest round of applause of the evening to us.
The champions, the double winners. It's Worthing under-18s. Your Worthing under-18s winning the Isthmian Youth League Cup Final. Congratulations. As they have their photo taken. Well, thank you everyone for joining me, Ollie Ordis, up here in the gantry here at Reigate. It's been a brilliant game to commentate on. It's been a brilliant game to cover. Of course, sponsored by Your Instant Replay and Design Packaging. Have a brilliant rest of your week, Rebels fans. It ends here. Camberley Town 0, Worthing FC 1.